In for Dr. Timothy Johnson, I'm Dr. Doris Day. Everyone loves food, and especially foods that make you feel good. Today we're going to tell you about foods that can make you feel better and healthy at the same time. Joining us today is Bonnie Taub-Dix, spokesperson for the American Dietetic Association. Welcome, Bonnie.
Hi, Doris.
Tell us about these foods that make you feel good.
Well, there are lots of foods that really can have a very strong impact on how we feel. And not only does food affect our mood, but our mood actually could affect the foods that we select. So foods like chocolate, of course, is one of the biggies. And chocolate makes us feel good in part because it releases a chemical in the brain called polyphenols that actually do calm us down and make us feel better. But just like some other things in the diet, just because a little bit of good is good doesn't mean that a lot is better. So for those of us that have to watch our weight, you want to be sure that you don't need too much chocolate, or that could actually put you in a bad mood.
And these are highest in dark chocolates as opposed to milk or white chocolates, is that correct?
Yes, it is highest in dark.
Which is what we don't typically reach for, unfortunately. So we tend to go for the foods that are not quite as healthy, but maybe it's the association that goes with it.
Well, a lot of the reasons behind we select certain foods is because of what we grew up with. You could love your grandmother's apple strudel and you may want to have that, and it doesn't mean that that's necessarily going to chemically make you feel good, but it could just make you feel good because of what it represents, not necessarily what it stimulates in your body.
So it sounds like we also have to condition ourselves to look at food in a certain way so that we feel better reaching for it.
Oh yes, and the looking for comfort foods, as we call them, sometimes could contribute to obesity, and instead of really being comforting, it actually can wind up causing discomfort. So the kind of foods that you want to select are foods like salmon, for example, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which has become the jewel in the nutrition crown, but also salmon is high in protein, and protein stimulates a chemical called epinephrine that actually makes you feel more alert, as opposed to choosing something like whole grain breads and cereals, which could actually make you feel more comforted because they stimulate serotonin.
So I've never seen anybody reach for salmon because they want to feel better. How do we start to condition people to look at these foods a little bit differently so that they actually do feel better?
Well, I think in part it's, just looking at food as something that could really be like medicine. I mean, no one food is going to cure you or really harm you. It's just a matter of trying to have a blend. And I think that our goal is trying to feel balanced. And if you want to feel balanced, the best way to feel balanced is with a balanced diet. So by having a combination...
Can you tell me about some...
I'm sorry?
Can you tell me about some other foods that you recommend?
Yes, also spinach, believe it or not. Spinach is high in folic acid. Folic acid has been linked to depression or helping depression, and also even a Brazil nut. Believe it or not, one Brazil nut a day supplies enough selenium that helps also curb your mood. And another great food is milk, because milk is high in calcium and also tryptophan. So that old wives' tale of having a warm glass of milk before you go to bed to calm you down may not be such an old wives' tale. It actually could be quite helpful.
Okay, so now you've mentioned some very interesting ingredients: omega-3s, selenium, calcium. Are these things, folic acid, are these things you can just take in a pill and feel better, or do you have to get it from the food itself?
As a registered dietitian, we always believe in food first. And sometimes it actually is the chemicals within a food that interact with each other that make the difference. It's not just about an individual nutrient that's in a food. So I would never go to chemical ways of helping yourself when you actually can get so much wholesome food that's around. Really, a mixture of fruits and vegetables. And an easy way to know that you're getting a little bit of everything is by having a lot of color in your diet. Bright orange from sweet potatoes also can help boost your mood by helping you feel more calm. The green in spinach. So by having a palette of color also can help make your mood a little bit more blossomed.
I think for a lot of people a palette of color is getting ketchup and and a lot of the little side things, and it's a matter of how we sort of help direct people to these foods that are more healthy. I mean, the American diet is so full of processed foods. What does that do for your mood?
Well, when you eat fast food, it sometimes seems like it has a calming effect initially because it just seems to taste good going down. But actually, that could also wind up putting you in a bad mood because it's very often high in sugar, high in fat, and these are not the chemicals that you're looking to stimulate when you want to feel good. So the kind of chemicals you're looking for are carbohydrates that are whole grain carbohydrates, stimulate the release of serotonin, the feel-good chemical, and actually protein stimulates epinephrine, which makes you feel much more sharp and much more alert.
Well, I think of those fast foods as like an itch. When you scratch it, it feels so good in that moment, but then afterwards you don't really feel much better. It actually hurts more.
Well, sort of like a fair weather friend.
Well, thank you, Bonnie. Thanks for being on.
You're so welcome.
Well, we hope you found this edition of Healthy Life informative. To find out more on this story and other health-related topics, we invite you to go to our website at abcnews.com. Thanks for joining us today. From all of us at the Healthy Life production team, we hope you stay healthy.